Just through 4 weeks, I mean, what do you feel like this defense has really gotten a hold of what you guys want to do, and the execution part is pretty at a pretty good level right now?
Yeah, I really like their energy level. I like how hard they're playing. I think that's the thing that we've talked to them a lot about, is how we play and how we represent this university, and I think they've done a good job of that. Two tough weeks in a row, going to Notre Dame on the road, and a big physical Illinois team, and now we got another one coming in Minnesota. So it's just kind of stacks up on you week in and week out, and that's the new thing for me. Being in the Big Ten now. Minnesota's a big football team that wants to run the ball. So once again, we're going to have a really good energy level and make them think we're playing with 12. I mean, that's how you overcome it.
What have you been most pleased with from the defense so far, Brad?
I've been most pleased with how well we've tackled. We just haven't had a lot of missed tackles, and I think that's a real critical. When you play great defense, big plays usually are a result of either a mental error or missed tackles, and we just have tackled really well and played extremely hard, and that's what I've been really proud of. The guys they've set a standard for themselves, and I've really enjoyed watching them each week and how hard they've played and how well they've tackled.
Why is that, you think? I mean, why?
Just a good group of people, right? I think since the day I got here, I mean, it's like there hasn't really been a day where I've had to jump on everybody to get them to play, like practice. Since the day I got here in January, we went to spring ball early, and the guys come out and they just practice hard, and I think it's just attributed to the kind of the guys that we have. I mean, they love playing the game, and that's a lot of fun to be around.
What's Lawrence Johnson giving you at one of those tackle positions, and
he's really
probably coming off his best game that he's had here? And how's that
the
last 2 weeks?
The last 2 weeks, because he had the hip problem in the spring. I really wasn't sure he would play this year when I watched him in the indoor that day when he dislocated his hip. I mean, that was a scary injury, and he's come back and he's really doing this in the last 2 weeks, and we have to have him in there doing that to be successful. We're getting good presence out of George, Branson, Lawrence. Those guys have really done a good job up front. Jenkins is doing a good job. DeMarcus is coming around. DeMarcus missed so much practice in August. He's finally trying to hit his stride, giving us good production. So Lawrence is a guy that, wasn't sure where he'd be, with his hip, and he's coming just really playing at a high level for us, which we have to have because he's a big guy.
What's the play of the defensive line allowed other parts of the defense to do?
Well, you don't have to pressure as much. If you can get pressure with 4, I've been proud of the guys on third down. We've made a big deal of it. They've played well on third down, and we just haven't had to blitz a ton on third down. When you do your self-scout, that we've been able to get pressure with 4. And like last week against Illinois, they just weren't going to let George get involved. Like I made the comment after the game, they just put him in a web. They put 3 guys on him, and they were holding him. Not only they had 3 on him, but they were holding him too. So they just put him in a web. Well, that opens up something for somebody else. And so those guys playing well up front, they set the tone for everything we do.
Do you know if he's drawn a holding penalty this year?
Yeah, I don't think so.
We didn't think so either.
I don't know if we have that rule in the Big Ten, do we? I shouldn't have said that, right? That's not fair, right?
Now, Brad, how can you guys generate more turnovers?
Yeah, that's been a problem. We've created them. We haven't gotten them. There's been a lot of fumbles on the ground. Like George hit the ball. Our guys up front are really doing a nice job of going after the ball. George caused a fumble. We just barely missed it. Like it seems like every week the ball's on the ground and we don't get it. So we've had to take a period every day in practice and emphasize, scoop and score, get the ball. Like that's the number one thing in our game is the football, and the value of it is astronomical. And our guys have to do a good job getting it. They're doing a good job getting it out. We got to get it.
But is also that a bit of credit to your defense that you played this well without getting the takeaways, that you played? We've stood up in some tough situations.
The guys have done a good job. Like they're doing a good job on third down, which we got to continue, and that's a big point of emphasis. And we've gotten a little bit better in the red zone. Oregon State, we didn't play great in the red zone. We've gotten better in the red zone at forcing some field goals, and I think that's the real key when you're trying to minimize points, is trying to force field goals when they get down in there. And you guys have done a better job of that. The one area that we got to of those big 3 is the takeaway piece of it, and I think if we can get a couple of those and get ourselves off the field in that manner, it will help us as well.
with the defensive line just applying that pressure, these last couple weeks, do you think maybe that'll allow the secondary to possibly play a little bit more aggressive and maybe start to see some of those interceptions?
Our guys have been playing pretty aggressive. That's the one thing Coach Braum and I talked about when I came in. That's the one thing we wanted to do. He wanted to do, I want to do, is be more aggressive with people, get our hands on people, play tighter coverage. I mean, that's what we want. And so our guys have done that throughout spring and now in the fall. And we got to always be careful about the one over the top, right? I mean, you always worry about the big play, but I've said it before, nobody ever wins but afraid of losing, so we want our guys to be aggressive and get after it. And so hopefully it's all kind of that way, whether it's linebackers, D-line, secondary, we want to be aggressive and be hands-on with people.
You basically shut down Illinois. What did you learn about yourself, especially after watching the film?
Well, I think the biggest thing is our guys are tackling well, like I said earlier. I think that's the biggest thing. And their backs, now Zero's a good player. Like, he had 100 and some yards, I think, and that's kind of a Coach Belima, MO team. Like, they're going to run the ball and make you stop the run. And so you always got to be tuned in to making sure we're stopping the run. But I think tackling is the real key in doing that, and not letting something big get out on you.
So how do you continue this defensive momentum that you guys have?
Well, I tell the guys, I've told them this week, I told them like each week, humble pie is only about 3 or 4 days away, and I mean, it comes in big slices. And so if you don't prepare well, one day at a time, you can't get to Saturday and expect to play well. So, the guys got to do a good job on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then, we're real big on with them even from Thursday after practice till kickoff. What am I doing to prepare for the game mentally and studying, whether it's a scouting report, it's video, whatever it is, because in today's world, they have the ability to watch video on their phone. They have access to it. So what they do mentally from Thursday to Saturday is really important. And so we got to continue that track. If we want to play well on Saturday, you have to prepare well.
And speaking of playing well on Saturday, obviously you guys go up against another really strong offensive line. Their running back, Trayson Potts, took over for Ibrahim, putting up so many yards.
Yeah.
How do you slow him down?
Yeah, it's a matchup problem. He's a really good back, and he makes people miss. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have to tackle well. We're gonna have to load up. I mean, they force you with their offensive line, and they'll play 6 linemen, 7 linemen. I mean, and then they got a huge tight end at number 42. Like, they're going to force you to get off blocks and make plays. But this will be the biggest offensive line we've played to date. And I thought Illinois was pretty big and Notre Dame's pretty big. And so we're going to have to make sure we're in the right place and tackle well.